And we're back. So now what we want to do is we want to create this sort of upward cylinder that connects to the seat of the chair. So what we want to do now is go to our component mode. What we're going to do is go to edges, which is this diagonal line here. And I'm going to so what we want to do is select this ring, right? This top ring. You could go along and hold shift and select all of this stuff, which is a huge pain in the butt. There's an easier way to do it. If it is a complete ring and you can just go to one edge on the ring and double click and it will select the whole ring. Now it only works if it's a complete ring, or it'll take it as far as that ring goes, or the edge loop. You can select any one, it doesn't matter. You can double click on any edge and it will complete the circle. So what we want to do now is actually extrude this edge inward to sort of form the top of this cylinder here that connects all the legs together. So what I'm going to do is go to Mesh Tools. Oh, it's not in there. I want to go to Edit Mesh, Extrude. And that brings up my Extrude tool. Extrude tool is extremely dangerous. And I'm sure a lot of students will find this as we go along. So I've clicked Extrude, the Extrude tool. It has actually made the extrusion. You just can't see it because it's on top of itself. So if I unclick right now or deselect it, I have this extra bit of geometry that's sitting right on top of itself that you can't see. And it sounds kind of complicated, but you'll get used to it, trust me. So if you happen to click off like that, nothing looks like it changed, but it actually did. And it's very dangerous. If I was to start moving this around, I would have these, extra bit of geometry that I can't see, and that will cause problems way down on the road. So what you want to do is make sure you hit undo a couple of times until that extrusion, before you hit the extrude, and it'll actually show up in your inputs here. Now the extrude is gone. So I'm going to select that again. Just a word of warning there. So I'm going to go Edit Mesh, Extrude, but I want to extrude to the very center. So I have to go into a different extrude mode, and to get there, you click on this weird little icon that's always off to the side of the ring, and you'll see what happens is it moves the cursor manipulator to the middle, which is exactly what we want because we want to bring it to the middle. And I want to scale it in. So what I do is select this scale. These little boxes around here are scale boxes, and that enables this uniform scale in the middle. So once you've got that, just click and hold and drag, and now we're extruding in. Something probably like that. We're not gonna do it totally accurately, so just as long as it looks something like that, that's fine. Very important, once you're done your extrude, just hit W and get off that extrude tool because it is super dangerous. So now what we want to do is make this sort of cylinder that connects to the top. You might be thinking, well, I could just extrude up like that, but then I've got these flat sides here, and I don't really want that. I want like a smooth base. So I'm going to hit undo and go way back, I guess. I'm just gonna go, won't even let me go forward. So I'll just do that extrusion again. Extrude, go to the middle, bring it in, there. Now we're back to where we want to be. I went back to my object mode. So in order to get that nice smooth cylinder, what I'm going to do is just actually create a cylinder and combine it together with this one. So I'm going to go create polygon primitives. Once again, make sure interactive creation is off and click cylinder. And now I've got this cylinder. And when you create new geometry, primitive geometry, it always defaults to the middle of the world, which is exactly what we want. So what I'm going to do is bring this up a little bit on the y-axis. So I'm only using this y here. And you can tell over here because z and x are still at 0, but y is changing. And what I want to do is, so in order to connect this properly, I need the same amount of verts as is on the bottom of this chair base. So I'm going to select that, and I've done this before, so I know exactly how many it is. It's 25. So now, once I hit 25 in the subdivision axis and hit return, now I have 25 divisions, which is exactly what I need. What I don't need is all this extra. I don't need the caps on the top and the bottom. So here is the next hotkey that you're going to have to remember, and that is F. What F does is it frames whatever's selected. So if I shift select the cylinder and the chair base and hit F, it's going to frame all that. But not only does it frame select it, it resets your pivot, so it pivots around whatever is selected. So now I can nicely pivot around here and get to exactly what I need, which is to delete these caps. Sorry, just reading my notes here. What I want to do is go to my component mode, and I'm going to go to faces, and I'm going to try and look over top, and I'm going to start selecting these faces here just by holding shift and clicking. I want to select all these faces here. Same on the bottom. Just go around in the circle and select these. And make sure you didn't select any by accident along the side, so I'm just cruising around there taking a look. And once I've got all the faces I want to delete, I just simply hit delete. Perfect. Okay, so now what we want to do is I'm going to hit R in object mode. I've gone back to my object mode. And I'm going to scale this up. I'm going to sort of just get it just a little bit above. See how there's that little space there? Just going to get it right above there. And maybe a little bit bigger, just so it's pretty close. Move it up. Sorry, move it up on the y-axis again. And that's sitting pretty good. So what I want to do now is I've got to sort of line this up. So I'm going to go to my shading view, and I'm going to go wireframe unshaded. And now, even though something isn't selected, I can still see the wireframe. And I just want to make sure that one of these lines lines up with this line here. Doesn't matter which one it is. So that's fairly close. We're not going for total complete accuracy here, but now you can see that each one is sort of lined up to where it should be. Perfect. Great. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a couple more edge loops. And it's always good to do this. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to go to Mesh Tools, Insert Edge Loop. And instead of using the multiple edge loops, I want to go equal distance from edge. And now when I click, I'm going to click and hold. And now I can move this edge loop, this new edge loop it's going to make, anywhere I want on this geometry. But I want it close to the bottom, like that. Something like that. That should be good. I'll do another one for the top, just for giggles. And I'm going to go back to my object mode, and I'm going to select the base, and I'm going to do the same thing there. So I'm going to Mesh Tools, or you could hit G. This is the last tool I used. And I'm going to make one along here, like that. Something like that. Okay, so now I want to combine, now I want to connect this base to this cylinder. but they're separate objects again, which we already went through that before with all the different legs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the legs, and I'm going to select the cylinder, and I'm going to go Mesh, Combine. And now they're one object, so I can start actually connecting them together. So normally in this case, I'd probably use the Append Polygon tool again and just start connecting all this stuff up. But I want to show you another tool, and that is, they changed the name of it in this version. Actually, I should probably save. It's called Target Weld now. It used to be called Merge Vert or something like that. So I'm going to go Target Weld, and I'm going to make sure Merge to Target is on. And what I do is I sort of hover over a vert. It automatically puts you back in component mode. I'm going to hover over a vert, and I'm going to click and hold, and I'm going to go to the one I want to connect it to, and then release the button, and it connects those two up. Now you could definitely use your Append to Polygon on this. You could even set it to center if you want. But I just wanted to show you this tool. So I'm going to go and connect these guys up. Something like that. Go around in the ring here. Just take us a minute. Whoops, see, I made a mistake there. No worries, hit undo. It's not like the extrude tool where you got to worry about that. So I'm just going to go and connect all these up. There's probably a much quicker way to do this, I realize, but can't teach an old dog new tricks, right? So keep going around, and bingo, bammo, done. So that looks pretty good. Now we got this sort of nice curve up to a smooth cylinder, and we're almost done the base of this chair, actually. Another thing I want to show you about, and you probably noticed, but in your channel box it says inputs here, right? This is a really quirky thing with Maya. These inputs are basically, and I guess you could compare it to sort of like your Photoshop history. This is sort of all the steps we've taken to get to this point. And you can actually, in some cases, go in and edit the values. See if you see some of these, you can actually go in and edit the values. Don't do that, whatever you don't. This history is very, very weak in Maya, and it's very troublesome. It's a huge cause of the software being really unstable too. So if you're having problems and issues like weird glitches and stuff, a lot of the time it's to do with your history, these inputs here. So I don't even really know why they have it, because it's so useless and so troublesome that they should just get rid of it. But they always have it there anyways. So what you want to do is periodically delete your history whenever you really think about it, actually. So and how you do that is you select your object. So you've got all these inputs here you want to clear. You go Edit, Delete by Type, History. And that clears your history out, and now it's nice and clean. You really want to do that as many times as you can think about doing it, because it'll cause a lot of trouble later on down the road. So that's just a little tip. Just get used to cleaning your history out. So the last thing we want to do on the base before we get started with the seat is to we just want to extrude this up again, in and up. So I'm going to go to my component mode, I'm going to select my edges, and we'll select this top ring again. So I'm going to select one of these, hover over one of these edges and double click, and it selects the whole ring. Right, so now we want to go Edit, Mesh, Extrude, and we're going to do the same thing this time. We're going to click on this little button here, and that's going to put our manipulator right into the center. Then I'm going to click one of these scale icons here. Doesn't matter which one, you could select either one. Just click it once. And that brings up this, what do they call that? Constrained scale. It scales basically X, Y, and Z all the same proportions. And then I'm just going to drag that in, and it kind of makes this nice little cap. And I think on our chair it goes up one more time, so I'm just going to hit G. And this time, instead of scaling the extrusion, I'm going to just draw it up with the translate manipulator. Hit that, and we'll just make a nice little cap. So I'm going to click that one, draw it in a little bit, and now what we can do is, actually, let's just extrude that one more time. So now we have this extra ring. And then I'm going to go mesh. Which one is it? Mesh. Bear with me. Connect. Nope. Hit undo. Merge to center. There we go. That's what I wanted. And that fills up that hole. So if you happen to deselect, I'll go back. And I'll go back to my edge mode. So if you didn't have it selected, you can just double click that ring and go merge to center. And that merges it to a nice tidy little. And you'll notice all the things we've done since we cleared our history is back. So we can actually go back and go delete by type history. Seriously, you cannot delete your history enough. It is terrible. So now here we go. We have our base of our chair pretty much done. I mean, if you guys want to go in and gussy it up a little bit, go for it for some extra marks or whatever. But this is pretty good as is. So the next videos, we've gone over quite a few of the tools. There's just a couple more tools that we're going to use to make the seat for this. What would those tools be? We're going to do some more duplication stuff. We're going to use mirroring geometries to flip things over that are sort of half built. But I'll go through all that stuff in the next part. So see you on the flip.